Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted as always to be joined by Owen McKendry. We're in preview mode, which may come as a surprise to some of our regular preview viewers, as it's normally Elliot Grigg alongside me. But don't fret, he will be back very very soon. But just for the meantime, Owen is stepping into his shoes and is obviously a more than capable replacement for the time being as well. Owen, thanks very much for joining me, mate. We are here for the preview of the big fight happening on the 19th of October at the Topper Box Arena in London. Undefeated boxer, Sky Sports star Adam Azim is taking in what some people would say another step up against Ohara Davies. We obviously know Ohara Davies on UK shores in particular, having fought the likes of Josh Taylor. He obviously beat Taron McKenna. He fought and got beat by Jack Catterall, coming in off his heavy knockout defeat to Ismael Barroso last time out. So yeah, kind of no introduction really needed for those two. Before we get into the fight itself, mate, and maybe give a prediction like we always do at the end of this video, what I want to ask you is a couple of pressing questions, more so about Adam Azim, and that is, do you believe that Adam Azim, when all is said and done, could retire as a multi-weight world champion?
Firstly, thank you for having me on. Hopefully, I'll do a good enough job in Elliot Grigg's absence for the time being. I find this a really difficult one because if you'd have asked me 12 to 18 months ago with the pedigree Adam Azim had as an amateur coming into sort of almost bursting onto the scene as a professional, I think I'd have just jumped the gun and gone absolutely. But I don't know whether it's Boxer, whether it's Ben Shalom that are holding him back for whatever reason. It does appear to be that way, with you see Eddie Hearn sticking it all over him about the Azim Dalton Smith negotiations, and he seems to be protecting him. I think, like I say, 18 months ago, I said yes. I'm hesitant to say yes now, purely whilst he still remains a fighter with Boxer. You look at Joshua Buatsi, when he come onto the scene, I think everyone at ESBR said he was going to be next in line for Britain's future world champions, and look how Boxer have handled his career. So at present, I think he can definitely win a world title. What form of world title that is remains to be seen. And he's around divisions, sort of lightweights, super lightweights, etc. They are stacked out divisions. So at present, I know I've been a bit of a fanboy when Adam Azim first come on the scene, but my mind is slowly changing, and I think multi-weight world champion, not for me.
Interesting, mate. As you said there, as a self-confessed Adam Azim super fan, and I'm surprised you don't have that Adam Azim mug. I'm surprised you're not having your coffee out of it now that I bought you for Christmas one year. But yeah, mate, it's an interesting one. I feel like I understand why and I completely agree with a lot of what you've just said. The only thing is, he is only 22. Like, he could have another 10 years as a pro, longer than that. So I do get in the sense that there's no rush. It's probably just because he has been hyped up so much from the early days that we're wanting him to maybe step up further than a normal 22-year-old we would kind of want to. But I have a few question marks around him. I think he's obviously got ability. He's obviously got power. I don't think he's as big a puncher as his record suggests. Not saying that he isn't a puncher, but I think the opponents have been perfect for him and suited towards him. I think it's who's about, but he's going to be here for 10 years. I'm actually, you know what? To surprise to some people, and maybe a surprise to you, I'm actually going to disagree with you. I'm going to say he might. I think there's a chance he could become a multi-weight world champion because he's fighting at 140 now. He's only 22. Let's be honest, he'll be up to welterweight in the next few years anyway, probably, because he's still growing. And it's only going to get harder to make 140. Not anytime soon, I imagine, but I could see him going up to welterweight. And it depends on the landscape, doesn't it? Like, I'm not sitting here saying, Adam Azim's going to win world titles in four weights, blah, blah, blah. Time and place. But you look at some, things, ones that are coming to my head, like brilliant fighter, no disrespect at all. But Ricky Burns was a three-weight world champion.
Very
When you kind
true.
of compare those two, Ricky Burns, world-class fighter, obviously three-weight world champion. Nobody can take that away. But when you look at Adam Azim at this stage of his career, compared to Ricky Burns, maybe after 11 fights, you're sitting thinking, oh yeah, well, he definitely can. So I think it's a bit of a luck of the draw, sometimes as well. Who you can fight at certain times, whether or not the division's weak, at that given moment or not, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, I think he can be. I'm not going to sit out in the limb and say he definitely will be, but I think he definitely there's definitely potential there. Before we come on to predictions for this actual fight, mate, against Ohara Davies, just quickly, one thing I wanted to pick up on was you mentioned a certain name of Dalton Smith there. Um, I love Dalton Smith. I've been high on Dalton Smith for a long time now, and I believe that whether or not it was Adam Azim himself, I don't think it would have been him as the fighter. Like the fighters want to fight, let's be honest. But his team, promoter, manager, whatever, definitely didn't want him to fight Dalton Smith. Do you
Yeah.
believe that there was a duck from Team Azim? And I'm not certainly saying Adam Azim himself, but Team Azim. Do you believe it was a duck from them? And had the fight, well, if the fight does go ahead, and they're maybe forced into it in the next couple of months or in the next year, who would you back there to win?
Oh, 100% think there was a duck, more from boxer's side and the promotional side of things. And I do understand why. Selfishly, obviously, we want to see that fight, but I was at the Nottingham Arena when Dalton Smith seriously underperformed against Billy Ellington. And when that sort of time was when the fight sort of first started getting spoken about. And based off that performance, I was a fan of Dalton Smith, but based off that in the flesh is how I like to judge a lot of fighters. And he was terrible that evening. Billy Ellington's an area fighter at his very best, and he got a lot of success. And my God, since then, he just blasted Sam Maxwell out. And that Zepeda win was unbelievable. So I think at the stage of the Billy Ellington fight, Ben Shalom and Boxer are probably thinking, bloody hell, this is a big scalp here. And then they've seen the two knockouts since and thought, absolutely not yet. I think it's high risk, high reward, personally. But I think for Boxer, Ben Whittaker, we've seen the back and forth of Eddie Hearn. He'll probably leave at the end of his contract. Buatsi's been sort of, I wouldn't say mishandled, but, he's not really a superstar status. So if Adam Azim loses, realistically, Boxer's stable of their stars, how are they looking? They're not in good stead at all. I think if they fought here and now, if they were fighting on Saturday, Dalton Smith beats him. I think he's fought higher level opposition. I think it's the perfect timing for Dalton Smith, which is, I think, why Eddie Hearn's pushing for it so much. But then on the flip side of that, as Dalton Smith, if he carries on winning against these higher caliber opponents, is there ever going to be a right time for Adam Azim unless Dalton Smith is 34, 35 on the back end of his career? So I think at present, it's a great fight for fans, but it's an even better fight for Dalton Smith. And I do think Dalton Smith would beat him at present.
Yeah, I agree. I would back Dalton Smith right now. That's not to say in a few years that Adam Azim wouldn't win. And it's one of them where I do understand why boxer might want to protect him, but at the same time, as I mentioned at the beginning, he's 22. I think we need to get out of our heads sometimes in boxing, like a loss that doesn't define you. Like look at the UFC, do you know what I mean? Like there's been fighters with like 10 losses on their record, and they're still regarded as one of the best ever. So like, not saying that to that extreme about, but the boxing will always be different in that case. But yeah, I mean, what's a loss? If he was to lose to Dalton Smith, he can rebuild. He's very young. He can come again. No worries. If he's to win, well, there you go. Adam Azim, unbelievable. He could go on to bigger and better things even sooner than we maybe perhaps thought. Just before we finish, mate, as we have ran on a little bit, in 20 seconds or less, tell me what happens on Saturday night between Adam Azim and Ohara Davies. Who wins and how?
I hate predicting Ohara Davies fights because you never know what Ohara Davies is going to turn up. But I'm going to go Adam Azim on points. Ohara Davies is so long, rangy, and difficult. I think if Azim comes flying in to try and find those left hooks, he could get caught. So I think it's going to have to be a sensible, patient performance from Adam Azim. And I don't think he'll stop him. Wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I will be going for a comfortable Adam Azim points victory.
Yeah, interesting, mate. Interesting. I think this is the right opponent at the right time again for Adam Azim. I think be another good name to have on the resume. I also believe he wins. I'm actually more confident that he does win via stoppage. Just looking at Ohara Davies' last fight, like, has his chin gone? We saw against the Josh Taylor fight, a lot of people labelled him a bit of a quitter that night, turning his back. Should the same happen again if he's getting beaten up by Adam Azim? We'll see. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to quit, but I do believe Adam Azim wins, and I would probably lean towards a mid to late stoppage in favour of the assassin. So, Owen, thanks very much for joining me, mate. Guys, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, let us know in the comments your thoughts on what we've just discussed, and I'll speak to you again very soon. All the best.